I also want to show you a couple of case studies about LinkedIn specifically, because that's the company that I work for. And here my point is, again, good possibility for viral pass along, but deep dialogue. So a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, Gary Kelly, who's the CEO of Southwest, decided to launch or rather his marketing team persuaded him to launch a very different kind of ad campaign on LinkedIn. He wanted to ask the LinkedIn audience, all of whom are smack bang within his demographic, how can my airline make you more productive? Now, if he'd asked it about 2 months after this, the answer would have been put some planes in the air. Fortunately, this was before all that happened. And what happened was, he got 137 essay-length answers, and I mean essay length. You can go and look for this question on LinkedIn. Essay length, incredibly thoughtful and very varied answers to that question, ranging from things like put the kids in a different area of the plane, to Wi-Fi connection, to lines. What was interesting is he's going to follow up on this. Oh, by the way, I should make the point about viral pass along. 137 essay length questions. That's great, that's good intel, and basically it's a free byproduct of an advertising campaign. But it got virally, the fact that 137 people answered it because they were the super connectors who use LinkedIn very heavily, that got virally distributed to tens of thousands of other people who saw that Eric just answered the question from the CEO of Southwest. So this is dialogue. This is real dialogue with a brand. And he got many of those props that David got from his customers saying, hey, I really like the fact that you did this. Now, the really cool thing is he's going to come back with or rather, the Southwest will come back with a follow-up campaign to say, hey, thanks for all the input. Here are the things we've addressed from your feedback in the new business class from Southwest, and here's a free business class flight for everyone who answered. Really powerful way to close the loop and say, hey, I listened. That's dialogue, right? That's real dialogue. That's not just some stunt. So I thought that was really good, and I think that's very progressive of Southwest to be thinking that way. Here's another one. This was a much bigger one. So Microsoft were launching the new 2008 server. I think they just call it 2008 server. I think that's what it's called. It's very catchy. But what they also decided to do, because we've been asking them for a few months, is time the big LinkedIn-wide ad campaign for the new server family of products with a question from Bill Gates on something not related to the server question, to the server product launch. He asked, how can we persuade more young people to enter science and technology when they leave school? But what a clever way, because the fact that Bill Gates launched a profile on LinkedIn, he's the #1 search for person on LinkedIn, so he launched a profile. The fact that he did that and Microsoft timed it with the launch of the campaign, brilliant. And here's what happened. The click-throughs for the Microsoft campaign that day were over 3%. Now, I'm not sure how many of you agonize over click-through rates in online advertising, but that is extremely high. There were 3,567, again, essay-length answers to Bill's question, many of which were really heartfelt, high-quality questions about how young people should be jumping more into science and technology. And because of, again, the viral distribution of so-and-so answered this question, slightly over 1 million other people came to that area of LinkedIn Answers that was all sponsored by Microsoft. So this is a really good example of dialogue and viral pass-along. When you think about engaging your audience, this is a sneak preview. This is a new piece of LinkedIn technology that what you're looking at right now is the LinkedIn company group. And I'm being brave in Web 2.0 by showing you what people inside the company are talking about. But you see the tabs along the top there. There's a member directory. There's an updates feed of who's doing what, traveling where, reading what, recommending what. There's a structured Q&A environment. And there's a news, subscription, and discussion environment. And we'll be rolling this out to lots of companies in the next few months. About 1,000 companies are doing it right now, including Ascentium, actually. And this platform that you see here, this environment, will be rolled out to all the customer groups as well. So an interesting way to do this, an interesting way to leverage it if your audience is a professional audience, business to business or business to consumer, but senior consumer, here's a way for you to create your own groups to have real discussion and dialogue in a structured way, in a private environment. You can do it invite only. You can do it on an open basis. You can even pre-approve people. But I think that people should create these groups. I think brands should create these groups. You can be very selective about who you invite in, but you can get real feedback and evangelism and a viral pass-along. Remember the viral pass-along example I showed you? You can do this by creating these groups. You can do it for different product lines. You can invite your influencers in to work with you. You can even have them do a tour of duty, where they're in the group working with you, and then they leave the group and you bring in a fresh bunch. But Web 2.0 can be used this way. And everyone else who's connected to them will see that they're involved, and they'll wish they were too. Why do I think that it could work for marketers and brands? Because it's already working for publishers. And I don't know why brands don't do this today, but here's Business Week this morning. Obama, and it's a story about Obama's, one of the reasons that he won the nomination was around his strength of social and use of Web 2.0 online. And what you see down there in the red box are a whole bunch of sharing tools. You can dig this. You can email it, but you can dig it. You can post it to your LinkedIn connections. You can save it to Delicious. Now, what's interesting about this is here is that influencer phenomenon happening again. Oops, let me go back. The build didn't quite work there, but here's the influencer phenomenon happening again. Because everybody who reads this story and says, this is really cool, I want the people I know to be aware of this, and I want to put my own language on it. They're going to tag it with these kinds of words. Here's a tag cloud, as they call it in Silicon Valley. Here's a tag cloud of all the words that people will publish about this article when they dig it or when they post it to their connections. And anyone else who uses those words when they're thinking about Obama, when they search for them on these Web 2.0 sites, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see the Business Week article come up first. So here's an example of how publishers, I mean, you'll see these buttons here in the red box. You'll see them in lots and lots and lots of news sites and publisher sites. I think there's no harm with brands doing this as well. Remember, all you're doing is saying, hey, if you like this product or you think it's cool, or you think it's interesting, dig it. Or post it to Delicious and let your network know about it. You're just asking for permission. But that's all you're doing. You're not forcing it down anybody's throat. These tools should be used by brands. I talked up front also about how whole companies can use these things. Again, I'm going to just say it one more time. 35% of all pages on the web are now in Web 2.0 sites. So here's an idea. And it will be amazing when companies start doing this. No one's doing it, including us, by the way. So LinkedIn's not doing it. I don't think any company's doing it. But how can you build a community around your brand in an authentic way? We've talked about some of that today. You can create a group. You can invite your influencers into it. This can be something that your whole company can use. So having a dialogue like this, an honest, legitimate, authentic dialogue, can give you product development insights, customer service insights that can help solve problems. Remember, if you've got a few thousand people, or in the BlackBerry case, 300,000 people helping each other on your product, your CS costs are going to go down. Excuse me. Great for influencer marketing. If you've got a bunch of people who are engaged with your brand and talking to you, they will talk about it to everybody. The more active you are, the more you listen, the more you act on what they tell you, that is influencer marketing. Market research. Gary Kelly's question got 139, 137 essay length answers. Now, it wasn't refined and beautifully presented by a research company, but it was a free byproduct, exactly from the target audience, from an ad campaign. And PR. You'll also find people who will evangelize your brand. They will talk to the media about how they use your brand, about how they use your products. They won't just talk to each other, they'll step up and talk to the media too. The guy from Fleischman Hillard is a regular spokesperson for LinkedIn, for the PR world. And he talks to PR people about how he uses LinkedIn. We actually did find him this way, but it wasn't as structured as this. The reason for the arrow to finance and ops is that there are potential new ROI models here. Yeah, there may be an advertising component to it. There may be a banner advertising component to it. But there'll be all these other byproducts that you can build into your ROI that don't exist today. Southwest are talking about a new ROI, which I think is really clever. And then an opportunity for these departments to share what they're learning and to pass it back and to have the dialogue with the people on these communities and in these groups that are about your brand.